Hello and welcome to the Free Cheese episode 671. I'm your Joe Dix, joined by Matt Sellner.
Hello.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games, brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. This week we are riding the rails in RollerCoaster Tycoon as it joins the list. The list is a list of video games that we rank each week, which you can find over at thefreecheese.com/thelist. Every podcast episode is a new video game and an opportunity for something to outrank or underrank something else. More on the game later, our thoughts, our time spent with it, and our history with it. But first, Matt, what is the worst amusement park you've ever been to? Or ride you've ever been on? If you can't think, if there's not a whole park that takes the...
I mean, the last time I was at the Six Flags near the now defunct Six Flags that was near us in Maryland, It wasn't the best experience, but I couldn't like pinpoint what it was. I just don't think there was a lot of cars running on all the main ride.
Oh, that sucks. Because I had a lot of fun with that one in high school.
Because like the Man of Steel roller coaster is really cool. Like it's supposed to be big and big drop or whatever, but when you only run one car instead of two,
yeah, that sucks.
It's a long wait time for what seems like something that I should be, from where I was in line, I should be on in no time.
Yeah.
So I think it was just stuff like that. I do think Joker's Jinx at that amusement park was overrated.
Yeah, I'll give you that. It was one where you're kind of... The first time I went on it, I remember being like, ooh, am I going to hit my hip? But then it's kind of like over.
It's a launch coaster, so the launch part's fun. But then, like, from what I remember, like a third to halfway through, you lose like your momentum. And it's like just...
Yeah.
You're just spinning with no speed. So you're not getting like any like the G's you would get on something that had a little bit more pace to it.
Yeah, I
just
remember...
a little underwhelming.
I'd never been to that park, and my girlfriend in high school, we skipped school and went there on like a Thursday morning or something like that. And in like the middle of the school year too. So the park's like basically empty. And we did all of the Batman themed rides and everything. And the two that stuck out at the end, like we kept talking about Man of Steel, not Batman, but Superman, and the Batwing. Because the Batwing was such a different experience for a roller coaster where you're physically standing in it and you got that. Yeah, it was pretty sick. But that park is dead now. Although I haven't followed up on it. I think that park like is maybe being sold, so they might like just reconvert it. Like it'll just be like the big red coaster instead of Man of Steel, or Little Debbie's Fly Around instead of the Batwing.
Well, that stuff gets weird because I think
they
the
own
rides
the
are
rights
technically...
to
Yeah, well, that, and I also think they technically own the ride, so there's nothing like stopping them from breaking it down and just moving it to a new park.
Yeah, that's true. Which I could see happening.
But I heard rumors about that being bought, but I forgot. I feel like I heard it was like not going to be bought by amusement park people, but I could be wrong. It's been a while since
yeah, I just remember it kind of
rumors.
going out and loosely paying attention. I wrote this question, and I don't really know if I have a good answer for worst amusement park. I mean, I think anything that you think is going to be something and just kind of isn't. I kind of remember feeling underwhelmed at some of the stuff at Disney. But I was 9 when I last went to Disney. I think Space Mountain, I remember that being really cool because it's a roller coaster in pitch black. So it adds that terror because you can't see the next thing that's going to happen. And then I think like rides after that weren't as thrilling because I was just chasing that high the whole time. Conversely, do you have a favorite ride from an amusement park?
So I might have a toss up for two. I should have known. I should have had this on my I should have had this ready knowing what game we were talking about. So that's the one. So the one at Epcot, speaking of Disney, I went there not a couple of years ago when I was in Florida for Oriole Spring Training. And the Guardians of the Galaxy ride is very fun. It's a reverse launch coaster, and it does like the carts are on magnets, and so like it will pivot you like as
oh, that's cool.
So like it doesn't need to go fast. It just needs to tilt you at the right spot to give you like the good thing. And like it plays into the Guardians like soundtrack thing. I think there's like 10 different songs you can ride to. So it gives
your
you
experience could be different each time.
Yeah. No, but it's really cool. I found like Disney does a really good job nowadays of disguising their queues as storytelling experiences. So it was cool to see their setup for the story of the ride and how they set you up to launch. And it's essentially you getting sucked into a black hole, hence why you get launched backwards.
Oh, that's neat.
And it incorporates the screen, and yeah, you just hear like Rocket yelling the entire time as you're in space being flown around and stuff like that.
Pretty good. Did they get Bradley Cooper back in the booth?
They may have. I don't know. It sounded legit like Rocket, but
yeah.
Oh no, I think they did, because I think that Chris Pratt like talked to the screen and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure they got everyone. It's Disney. They can throw a little bit of money at this.
Sure.
And then the lesser known one, Dollywood, out there near Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I was just out there in December, and Lightning Rod is a wooden steel hybrid roller coaster, and it might be the best rolling roller coaster I've ever ridden.
Dang.
Like ever rode. I guess that's the better way of saying that. And we did it at night, so you kind of had that Space Mountain element to it, but it was a lot of fun. And it was the last thing I rode that day. And not that everything we rode wasn't like bad or was bad or anything like that, but it was like an average experience. That one ride would bring me back to Dollywood single-handedly.
Dang. All right. Bold claim. I didn't even realize that Dollywood had... my imagination of Dollywood was not rides as much as it was just like a place to walk around and look at Dolly Parton memorabilia.
Certainly can do that.
yeah.
Certainly can do that. But no, it has some roller coasters. There are some fun ones. Unfortunately, it was so packed that day that I did not get to see everything there, just because I think it was... Well, one, it was over like the winter Christmas break, and I think it was their last days of the year they were open.
Yeah.
Plus all their Christmas stuff. So like all that combined, it was a lot of foot traffic. So we didn't get to do everything, but we ended on Lightning Rod, and it was well worth it.
I don't know if this is my favorite. Man of Steel is still really good, but I'll throw a mention out to the Great Bear at Hershey Park in Pennsylvania. And I think it's because of the redemption arc that I had. When I was a kid and I went to Hershey Park, right after that roller coaster had opened, I went with a friend and his dad, who you may know as a local TV sportscaster. It was just the three of us. And if you've not been to Hershey Park, the way that they measure your height and whether or not you can get on rides is in different
the candy.
So I don't remember what it is, what you need to be to get onto the Great Bear.
Reese's was like the universal one that wasn't the super tall one. Super tall was Hershey's. If you're a Reese's, you got everywhere you needed to be.
Okay, I definitely wasn't. I might have been like a Twizzler might be the time. I was small enough that I could not do it.
Now
I remember
Twizzler's the one.
We were trying to figure out if there was a way that I could kind of stand in my shoes in a weird way and get past it, but I really couldn't. I think I was also a little scared of the Great Bear seeing it, so I probably didn't go too far out of my way to make myself seem that much taller than I was, but I wasn't passing. And the Hershey Park staff were not going to let me on that ride. So I got to sit at the bottom and watch friend and father go around the Great Bear. And then like 20 years later, I got to go back and finally ride it.
I apologize. Although I feel like I remember Mounds being like one of the sizes. As it stands currently, you have Hershey's Miniatures, Hershey's Kisses, then Reese's, then the Hershey's Bar. And the Hershey's Bar may have been the one, your golden ticket. If you hit that, you were on everything. Then Twizzlers, and then a Jolly Rancher.
Jolly It's weird that they would make Jolly Rancher the big one.
Yeah, they have so many things.
But also, Jolly Rancher is not a large. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know, but I guess that's like a bitter, like hardcore candy, like only for adults, but not really.
All right, yeah.
Because like I don't think Twizzlers is more intense than Hershey's.
Twizzlers, I feel like, would be the tall one.
Yeah,
right?
you're
like
lanky.
It's long. It's odd. But yeah, doing the redemption arc and being able to ride the Great Bear with no fear and no one telling me I'm too short was a great success in life for me. I've not been to a theme park in a long time. I keep saying same mentality, like, but now I don't have to skip school. I could just take a day off work if I wanted to and go to a theme park in the middle of the school year when no kids would be around, or fewer kids and fewer lines. But instead we just keep working and don't take time off and go do that. So
yeah,
maybe one day.
Like I think I unlocked something. I recently had to drive to Myrtle Beach from here, which is a long drive. But then like on the way there and back, you had to ride by King's Dominion, and then you kind of realize like this is not that far.
It's only right there. Yeah. We went to Richmond a couple years ago for a show and stuff and whatever, and then
Busch
we were
Gardens.
gonna do that on the way back, but it was like midsummer and it was super hot out, and and I think it was gonna thunderstorm that day, so it was like not worth like trying and waiting, and but what can you do? I know what you can do. You can go home and make your own roller coasters in RollerCoaster Tycoon, developed by Chris Sawyer, published by Microprose for the personal computer, first released March 22nd, 1999. Back of the box reads, design and build the most face-distorting, gravity-defying thrill rides ever seen. Do you have what it takes to create the ultimate amusement park? Well, here's your chance to find out. RollerCoaster Tycoon is the first build management sim that's as easy to use as it is powerful. Everyone, novice and expert alike, will enjoy building the parks that dreams are made of, complete with the most outrageous thrill rides imaginable. Fun! Features 14 fantastic roller coaster styles. Choose from a variety of rides, shops, decorations, landscape, and theme options. Easy! Begin building awesome thrill rides right away. Challenging! These are all in caps, by the way. Will your creation be the ultimate thrill ride or the ultimate disaster? Addictive! You won't want to stop. Visit us at www.rollercoastertycoon.com.
That's got a link to Atari now, right?
Yeah. I would imagine. Imagine.
Sorry, I knew those were in all caps because that was in your Xbox voice.
Thank you. I used used my Xbox voice. RollerCoaster Tycoon, I think, is it brings a weight to it as we approach it conversationally here. I think it's a known quantity, especially for people within our age range. What do you think RollerCoaster Tycoon brought to the gaming space that we didn't have before?
I feel like it introduced like the simulation game to me, and I don't know. Like obviously, there's simulation games at this point, but like I feel like it brought it to the general masses in a way that everything else has that niche audience. I feel like this one was the one that blew up, from what I remember. I could be wrong. There might be some other examples, but that was definitely the one for me.
What was your first exposure to this, or when, or do you remember?
I don't remember. Probably on some Windows 95 machine. Might be a gateway that I
have it. Like you looked over one day and there's the disc.
I do not remember if it was like a Christmas gift. I honestly do not. I just remember having it, and that's how like young I was when we had it. Yeah, RollerCoaster Tycoon
I would have been like almost 10 when this came out, and same deal though. Like I don't remember getting this. I remember the case, like I can see it in my head, but I don't know if we asked for this or if it just was something we got at some point. I don't know if we were looking through this might have been it. they used to sell software in stores. And I remember going through like the aisle of computer, sort of like, what do we get for the computer? What things do we need for a computer? And maybe we came home with it at that point. I don't know. Did you keep up with the series through the years, or did you have a falling off point? I definitely stopped after 2. I remember 3 coming out, and I was like intrigued by the idea that you could go first person and ride the rides.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. But I don't remember playing that one.
So I only had 1, and I remember only like really playing 1. I know like 2 had like the same kind of art style, like in that same isometric kind of deal. And 3 was the one that went 3D. I don't remember really playing 2. I may have had a friend that had it where I sampled it some. But 3 I would play a little bit of because my godmother's husband, whose house I would go over from time to time to play video games, he had it. But I remember that era of software because of it being 3D and like just not a lot of computers really having the chops for it. I remember that game in particular, you used the clicking, you had to wait like 15 minutes for the thing to boot.
Oh my gosh. What are you even doing that time now?
Well, I think we were playing PlayStation. I think they were just hanging out or booted and then like go eat and then come back and ready to ride some waves.
Yeah. So this was a Matt selection for season 14. What brought RollerCoaster Tycoon to the list?
I don't remember the road to it land on the final list, but I feel like I just like it came up in my purview again. I was like, right, RollerCoaster Tycoon's game. It is an awesome game. Let me throw it on a short list. And then as I was like narrowing down the list, I was like, I don't have like a proper PC simulation game. We don't really have a simulation game. Little did I know you would do the hotel one earlier in the year. Yeah, U-Tower. But going into we didn't have like a simulation type thing. So I was like, what better way to kick it off than replaying this?
I think it was a good addition. I know it had made one of my lists a couple years back when it was hitting like its 25th anniversary, but I cut it for whatever reason. I don't know. It didn't get pared down from the 96 entries that I landed on that year. As we do with every podcast, we're going to run through our time through the lenses of gameplay, visuals, sound, and our final reviewer thoughts as we rank and review this thing. Looking at gameplay, a lot of our discussion around gameplay, I think, will be intrinsically linked to the visual discussion because so much of the interaction of this game takes place in menus. I'm saying this, I'm thinking about one that we're recording next week that also takes place in a lot of menus, but how different these games are will only be revealed. Just saying this out loud right now, I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of things I'm praising RollerCoaster Tycoon. We'll see if the praise carries to episode 672. Anyway, yeah, a lot of the gameplay takes place in menus, and I think because of that, we'll talk a bit about user interface as we talk through gameplay. There might be some repetition here, but that said, how navigable is RollerCoaster Tycoon?
I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty easy. I think it's very good at keeping a clean UI unless you purposely don't want a clean UI.
Yeah.
There are times where like things pop up when you don't mean to, like when you are like, all right, there's too much vomit, let me hire 4 handymen, and then each one pops up. It's like, okay, I didn't need all this. Just let me put them somewhere. But no, I think it's very clean. I mean, this is also the era, like, I had to kind of, for the most part, I remembered where certain things were. I had to do some exploring again. But again, this is the era where games are coming with a manual, so this all would have been laid out, I'm sure. So, like, but like getting to what you need is pretty self-explanatory once you kind of learn the
once
buttons.
you know the menu items at the top.
And then how they pair things in some menus as well within a window, I think makes sense. Nothing really is like an outlier that's like, why is this here?
Yeah. Pulling back a bit, so each park sits on a grid of squares that you can fully customize. You can add attractions, pavement, you can dig ground, you can raise ground, you can change the terrain, build tunnels, you can add trees, you can remove trees, you can add all sorts of stuff. What's the overall flow like for user interaction? Like, what are you doing in the game?
Well, I think it depends how you play it. And I think that's one of the cool things about this. Like this time, I don't remember playing a lot of scenarios as a kid. Like this time around, I didn't get through them all. I probably played like 4 or 5 of them, honestly. But like this time around, I was just doing the scenarios to put me in different locations to force me to think a little bit differently about how I utilize the terrain or whatever. But yeah, I mean, essentially, like you can shoot for the scenario, and if you're going for the scenario, there's usually a certain objective, and they all kind of end up being in the same vein. Like sometimes they get guessed, other times it's to just the value of the park going up or whatever. But you typically tend to funnel into like the same thought of like, just start building. And that could be usually you want a ride, so that way, a ride or two, so that way you can start getting some people in for the attraction, and then building your stalls, and then hiring your staff, waiting for some money to come in, or taking out a loan, build another ride, expand on it. And the cool thing about this is you can take 1 minute to do all this. You can take 3 minutes to do all this. You can take 6 minutes to do all this. You could take an hour designing your first roller coaster. Not even just making it. I mean, like making it and then color coordinating it with the special carts you want and the music and all this stuff. So you can go nuts in what you want to do. So like, yes, I think it's just like build ride, build stall, wait for people, wait for things to happen, build this, build that, kind of do some reaction, whatever. But at the same time, you can pace yourself. You can go into all kinds of details. You can make, like, with what you said with the scenery, it's not just like putting up like lights and benches and trash cans. Like you can do like gardens. Like you can really make the aesthetic of this. Yeah, make the aesthetic of this park whatever you want. And I think that customization and how you dive in, deep dive, surface level, somewhere in between, I think that's going to dictate how you kind of play your dictate your experience, I should say.
Yeah, some of the scenarios I think shifted up, like just even in the first 2 scenarios. The first one gives you an empty slate and says build a park and make it profitable by this timeline, and they give you you have to have a certain park rating and a certain revenue value, or I don't remember what it was.
Park value is the one they went for, and then is park value, I think, which is the revenue number, and then park rating is like the
park rating
is the overall like how to
satisfaction score.
Yeah, that's probably a better way of putting it.
And the second one gives you an existing park and says just make it better. And they kind of go on from there in there's different challenge modes and things like that, different terrains that are going to bring different types of challenges along the way. Looking sort of at park fundamentals, what do you need for a park to be successful?
I think you need rides, you need cash flow, you need food stalls and stuff like that. You pretty much you need things to do for the guest overall. And then also, like, the sneaky thing that happens in the late game, you need to path out your park appropriately.
Talk about that some more.
Well, what will happen, as I explained at Dollywood, the park can get crowded. And there's nowhere to go if you don't have different ways of getting there. So if you just have one single path and you just branch everything off that single path, people are going to get pissed when there's 1,000 people on the single path.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out, like, what's an alternate way to get from the back of the park to the front of the park without having to go backtrack to where you were. And sometimes it's just do it in like a circular pattern. Sometimes that is like doing some kind of like back end, like just something just to take off the pressure of the main road. So there's like a little bit of that that goes on. You need to make sure the park is clean. You make sure. I never really had a problem with theft, but like making sure you have security walking around just in case.
The thing you get a lot with not having security rather is vandalism. So if you ever put benches down or trash cans, if you just see them destroyed, that's because security wasn't rampant enough in the area. I forgot about that element, and then I'm like,
I just thought the trash wasn't taken out. I think forever as a kid.
Yeah, no, it's people messing with them, and the security guard's not there to stop them. I don't think I've ever physically seen like animation of a character interacting with one or like breaking one, but you'll just sort of look over and notice like, oh, those benches are broken. They're easy enough. You just click on them again and just replace them. But yeah, if you have security, that kind of prevents them. You mentioned the two things I want to bring up. The maintenance staff that you hire and having a dirty pathway. How did you handle maintenance staff? Did you grid them out?
This time around, I kind of just let them go because I wanted. So I guess I should mention, playing this on a modern computer is not as easy as just clicking install from Steam. You have to kind of do a little magic with I forget the mod now. RCT something. It's not
RCT.
What was it?
I think Open RCTF.
Open RCT. Yeah. So they threw in some quality of life adjustments. And there's a laundry list of stuff, and they're still updating it. Like from the time I installed it to coming up to this episode, they did an update that had another laundry list of fixes. I was like, oh, okay, that's a lot going
funny.
On. So like with some of that, I was just kind of curious to see how the handyman worked this time around, because I remember as a kid, I just gridding out every single handyman because it was just a train wreck. I kind of got like decent scores on cleanliness, so I guess they were doing their thing a little bit more efficiently. But yeah, staff, I was just kind of like letting it go willy nilly just to kind of see what maybe the new experience is like a little bit. But I remember gridding that out as a kid, like religiously.
Yeah, I remember doing it a lot as a kid. Here or there, you know what I mean? Like I would do it in some parks, other parks I just kind of let go, whatever. This time around, there were some parks, and I guess it was just a matter of the pathing, where I felt like they were moving around, like I wasn't getting many complaints, and if I were, I could just hire an additional guy and it was fine. There was one park I had though where it was just like not happening. The path sucked. They were not optimizing it, so I did path everything out, because each like person you hire, you can give them like their little, it's the blue footprints, but I don't know what to call it, but you give them like their map of where they're meant to patrol. And I had gone through and like painstakingly put grid overlays per maintenance person in all these spots, and I'm still getting complaints, and I'm like, where is this guy? And I realized that like one path I'd missed like one tiny strip of squares, but it was where like the path. So this dude was just walking back and forth in this little tiny line because technically his jurisdiction ended at a certain spot. And it was a little bit of a mess. So it's good to have some, what do you call it? Overlap between them, I suppose. Past that, you mentioned like the importance of having good pathing. What other elements kind of become quickly necessary to implement?
I know, like, scenery comes into effect, and some of that scenery is just like having benches, lights, trash cans, so that way like there's less trash on the ground and throw up and stuff like that. And then making the park look nice. Yeah, like various flowers, gardens, that kind of setup. Trying to trying to get stuff off the main drag, so that way like you can space out. Maybe you don't have to have 3 paths, but just like take some stuff away from the main path and then make like 3 lines of stuff.
Yeah.
So like that becomes important. The way you do your lines, like for the rides, like are they too long? Are they too short? Are they appropriate for the length of the ride itself? And then I say that like, oh, well, you probably can't control that. You would certainly control that. Like it's in a sub menu. It's wild. And like, some of them have more detail than other, like the pirate ship swinging. Like there's not too much you can do with that one. But when it comes to like a roller coaster, you can do the chain speed. You can do how many cars and a thing. There's a lot more to it than just it's the ride and here you go. And then of course like value too. So you can charge for rides. And then have an appropriate cost for them, based on excitement or value. And again, and just like you Tower, you're getting a lot of this feedback and menus as you look for it. And then you kind of just know where to adjust or what to look for from there.
Yeah. One thing I found for me that was sort of like quickly required was getting the right ride or the right types of things installed. So utilizing the research functionality, to like, there's a research menu where you can choose what types of attractions you're putting money into unlocking, because you're always kind of unlocking a new attraction style. So early on, I'm always like, let me fund like food stalls and stuff like that, because I'm trying to get to like the easy money makers, like the what do you call it? Like an information booth or whatever.
Oh, the information kiosk that sell umbrellas?
Yeah. Yes. Do that. That way, as soon as the drizzle starts, you can jack up the prices of umbrellas throughout the park. They're not
supply and demand, baby.
Boom.
That's capitalism.
Profit per hour just on the rise. The other thing that becomes really, really important is your choices in advertising the park or the rides within the park. I found like there's a very real impact on attendance in the park, depending on how frequently and how aggressively you're approaching your advertising campaigns. So kind of just always had one of those running at all times, or several of those running, I should say. It was always like, let me advertise this ride, let me do free coupons for this food, that kind of stuff. And I'd try and be smart where it was like, if I'm giving away free fries, I would make sure my fry stands were next to soda stands that I had jacked up the prices a little bit. So it's like people maybe go get their free fries and they're a little thirsty, they want to grab that. I don't know how much science went into actually like,
you want to talk about
programming's there. You
want to talk about Sony's dynamic pricing. He's Joe Dix.
Right. Come to my park, baby. Did you prioritize one ride type over another? Was there something you kind of leaned towards for build?
I kind of just went with what I thought I needed, or like the park itself. So I feel like I spent a lot of time. I actually never finished it because I was starting to fail because of the traffic stuff. But there's one in the moderate challenge scenarios where it's a bunch of like islands, like little mini landmass islands. So like it's very difficult to get a roller coaster because of the way the water gets like too deep, I think.
Yep.
So you have to terraform a lot, and terraform costs money.
So expensive.
So like, so usually I'm like roller coaster, but like in a park like that, like you really kind of only get like one coaster to start off with, and then like you have to build around the rest of that, and then be careful with spacing yourself. You don't want to front load the park because the entrance gets too crowded, and then no one goes to the other islands because you're not going to construct a bridge like a whole path because it's a mess. It's going to be so expensive. So like with that one though, like that one was like, well, gotta use the water to my advantage, so let's put out a bunch of fucking log flumes and see, like, you know.
Hey, you're the water park. You know what I mean?
This is what I bought. This is what makes sense. I'm gonna use what I have in front of me.
Do you have like a favorite layout that you put together in this run, like or a section or anything like that, where you're like, oh, I really like how this coaster flowed or whatever?
No, I never. Again, I didn't really. I feel like I would have did some cooler stuff if I had spent time in like a park I made from scratch kind of scenario, kind of playing like some of the hands that were dealt to me. I never really did so. I just kind of added on, and I kind of make pathways to try to make sense of it all. So I like there was never like a time where I saw the vision 5 rides out. It was more like, oh, I kind of have everything dumped over here, so it's time to go over here, and all right, this kind of works. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. You mentioned before gauging from the visitors, sort of like if your park is dirty or if you need something more thrilling than this ride or whatever. So you can view the general sentiments of park visitors. There's really good menus in this game. We've mentioned that, but like you can see sort of trends across people. If there's like a common thought or thing that people are saying, if they're repeating the same stuff, you'll see that bubbled up. You can also like click on an individual person and just see what they're thinking, what they're feeling. How did you use that information? Because I typically would like, if people said, I mean, we talked about the park's dirty, hire more maintenance people, make sure there's more maintenance people on a certain path. But like occasionally, we haven't gone into this realm yet. We'll get there. I do want to talk about some of the stuff we probably did when we were younger. If you remember any fun stories, like I definitely used some of the individuals' thoughts against them. But this time around, like, you know, just seeing that people are generally like, I'm not paying that much for blank. I'd be like, okay, well, let me make that free, but I'm going to put the thing next to it, bump up the price a little bit and make the queue longer so that people are like, oh, let me line up for this. This looks exciting. That kind of stuff. Did you have anything there?
So all right, sorry. I lost my train of thought. So like when I would see my park, like the rating kind of like get stagnant or start to dip some, or the guest number get stagnant or dip a little bit, I would be conscious to like, let me look at what everyone's saying, because I was always kind of forward thinking of like, all right, like the next attraction I think I need is this, based on just like kind of what I had already and what I could build based on my research or whatever. I was like, I don't have one of these yet. This would be next. But in the process of like getting the funds for that or whatever, you know, when I start to recognize those things dipping, that's when I would go there and I would kind of look at like the top 3 items to see like, how can I address this? And it would be something like, there's not a, you know, I can't find a drink. So it was like, oh, you know what? I only think I have a soda spot like in one area. Let me make sure I spread out the love a little bit, get those built up. And you start to see that stuff tick back up or whatever. But that's kind of how I played it. Just kind of keeping an eye on the ratings and some of the other like bars and metrics and things like that, and then seeing what the people are saying and why it's not going up. Why is the number not going up?
Yeah. Because the other fun one is like seeing not just what they're thinking. You can see what they're doing if they're standing in line for something or whatever. You can also see like how much money they've spent. And you know, sort of like, and I think how much money's in their pocket you can see. So
I don't remember that, but I know the spent.
How about the notices that pop up? There's like a built-in park system alert system that pops up, the letting you know when things have broken down, new attractions. How do you deal with those, I suppose? What's your...
I mean, it's kind of as I see them, just make sure they're being dealt with. Because typically,
do you feel like you're proactive? I don't like okay, it pops up and it says, "Hey, this ride is broken down." Are you like, "All right, let me see where maintenance is"? Are you, "Let me do you pluck maintenance and drop them there?
Nah, because it shows me if I am equipped as well. Because also the thing is, if I guess if I don't have enough like handymen or repairmen around, like also I guess my maintenance checks aren't getting done, so all my other
True.
stuff is gonna start to break down eventually too. So the thing is, like, if I think I found more often that I forgot to open the ride, then the ride broke down and had been there
so many times. Yeah.
So yeah, but no, I usually just kind of let things go until kind of like the alert banners kind of align with some of the guest thoughts from, that window that I would check for, like, in, like I said, like that top 3 feedback items, and then react accordingly. But that banner is like 4 alerts, so it's hard to be like proactive about it too much.
Yeah. I realized, I think we talked about it a little bit, but I feel like this whole episode I've been referring to the handymen as maintenance, maybe. And I don't know if we ever fully defined it, but handymen take care of cleaning, mowing the lawn. Maintenance people will do ride, checks, or what do they call it? Like inspections, ride inspections.
Yes, yeah.
And then they will repair rides if they break down. Your security guards patrol the area, and we talked about the
trash can
vandalism and that kind of stuff. And then you have entertainers. We didn't talk about entertainers yet, right?
No.
How often did you use those? You feel like they gave a boost to the morale,
so I would open the park, or begin the mayor's open the park. I will hire 1111.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the last I saw my entertainer for the park.
Yeah. Every now and then you
I was spot amongst the crowd.
Yeah, you could see a big old panda bear or tiger or whatever you swap it to.
My favorite thing though was to just keep it to default, just to keep it fresh.
Oh, yeah.
So if it was a pirate and I was going for a space theme, then so fuck it. It's a pirate in space.
That's what's happening. Let me see here. Anything else on gameplay? Yeah.
No.
Through my notes.
I would say the next thing about gameplay, I think, bleeds into the visuals conversation.
Yes.
So I might leave with my first thought, if you do not mind, unless you had a leading question.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoy the art style of this game. I think it holds up very, very well. I for as old as this game is, I play it and it looks like something that will come out today. Like, it looks great.
Yeah.
However, the isometric view, there are times when hills and things get involved, and it's very hard to see where the fuck you're going with specifically a pathway.
Yes.
Because I found out on hills, like, you probably need, like, 3 angles to, like, really nail down where you're at. And I swore I checked every nook and cranny, kind of catering up and going up and connecting to this exit. Open the ride, and then I get an alert that says, ride whatever has no exit. I'm like, you're fucking kidding me. I'm looking at both these angles, and then, I'm looking up, and I just see the people come out of the exit and fall. I'm like, all right, there's not a connection there. How the hell can I see this? Because then the roller coaster's in the way, where, like, probably the view that would have told me, it's all messed up. So there are times where that is incredibly frustrating.
Because it's not just the isometric view, because that makes it difficult. It's the fact that you're locked into 4 specific angles. If there were 8, if we could go on the others and see down that path, it would make it easier. There was one ride I had where I knew it was going to be a big attraction. I knew I needed a good queue. And you're doing the good, we talked about that you could put in different paths, but we haven't talked about, like, the queue path style yet, where you can actually, like, build
Snake
out
it.
Yeah, and it has its own little marquee on the end of it. that one, I had built out like a really nice path for this roller coaster, and it led up right where I wanted people to like be able to come off the main path and walk into it. And it was working. The ride was open. That line was filling up and snaking the right way. It was very, very nice. And then I had a point where I realized kind of where I'd constructed things. Like, I need another path for people to kind of like get to the other side of this roller coaster from the front of the park, but also get like to some of the stuff that's in the back or the sides, and just start branching out how I'm pathing this out. And I'm doing it as blindly as I can. And I'm like, I got this. I'm dragging it along and whatever. And then at a certain point, I realized like the line sucks for this roller coaster. Like, people aren't showing. I'm like, what is happening? Where? And then I'm looking, I'm like, oh wait, the marquee's gone. What happened? And I realized I'd like misclicked in the wrong direction one square, but I overrode that whole line that I'd snaked, and it's hard to get it back. In fact, I think you have to like close the ride. If you mess with the marquee path, you have to like close the ride first and then put it back down. I think I might be wrong about that, but
the marquee line itself, you're fine, but to move the entrance or the exit, that's what you have to close.
I think that's what it was. I ended up wanting to move the exit on that one to get a better. But it's messy. It can be a little messy. I agree with you. I think that's one of the only drawbacks of the visuals is the camera angles you're kind of locked into. They do try to address it with, you can hide every layer, which is really nice.
Yeah.
You can be selective about what you hide. And then you can also just like put on like a default transparency that kind of lets you see through everything basically. But yeah, otherwise I agree with you. I think it's a timeless look overall. I think the, like, character designs are good. Though I didn't realize it until I was like putting notes together for this, but I didn't like all of the park guests are basically identical, minus their shirt colors. I didn't think about it. I'm sure that probably stretched out later on, but it also, having them be just a single guest type gives you this clear visual identity, and then you kind of see how they react to things, and I think their animations stand out a bit more.
Like, so, I think I mentioned this in my review, like, sure, when the 3D, like, when 3 came out, that went 3D, like, yeah, it looked flashy and cool, and yes, you could ride the ride, right? But, like, fast forward years later, this is the better-looking game.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's just, I guess you nailed it. You said timeless. Like, this is still, I think, one of the better-looking, like, computer top-down simulation type games, that you can find. And yeah, like, sure, there's there's the one character model, you got your Stan Lees, but it's a little bit more forgivable in this type of game than in like Final Fantasy VII Remake,
right?
It's going for all this visual fidelity. And then, like you said, and I agree with you there, it's very easy to pinpoint, like, I would never be able to find my pirate amongst the people. No, if it wasn't.
Yeah, if you had a whole crowd of like truly like unique and diverse people in the crowd, you'd never be able to find your employees or anything like that. I also think the other benefit of this is, if you're sacrificing visual individuality from these people, what you're gaining is like personality and all of those stats that go into this, that like, think about the sheer number of park guests you can accrue at a single time. Like, I don't know how high the limit actually is, but you can have so many, and they're all unique in terms of stats and interactions, preferences, all that stuff. One thing we didn't talk about with the park guests, did you know that there are cheat codes in this game activated by renaming guests?
Oh, I didn't. I mean, I kind of figured just because of the time frame of this game there were cheat codes, but I did not know they were tied to the guest names.
I don't know if there's probably other cheat codes in terms of like, like the
right, like
what was the Sims one?
For the money.
Rosebud.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think there's a Rosebud equivalent for this, but I don't remember. But essentially, if you name park guests certain things, they'll do certain things. Some of them are like friends of the developer or people who worked on the game or something like that with Chris Sawyer. That's his name, right? I already forget. But otherwise, like if you name one of them, I forget what their names are, but like it means that every time they go on the go-karts, they'll drive them super fast. Or I think if you name one Mr. Bean, he'll always drive go-karts at 3 miles an hour, like stuff like that. But again, you can jump in, you can rename the guests if you want to. You can rename the rides, which brings me to one of my other questions about this. How did you approach or experiment modifying colors of your rides, your designs, park?
I really did not do much of it this time. I just kind of stuck to the scenario or whatever. I know if I spent a little bit more time with the game, I probably would have made my own park and I would have did something dumb. And I probably would have like oriented it towards like Baltimore and have like,
oh yeah,
the Edgar Allan Poe section.
Oh man. See, yeah. Well, like, there's still time to do that.
I know. I can boot it up like right after we record and do all that. But I think that would have been had I actually sat down to do like all right, let me just go nuts in my own park kind of thing. I think that would have been my aim.
I feel like now that you mention that, I feel like my brother and I did, like, I remember us having like a black and orange thing. We might have done like an Orioles themed thing, or that might have been a Halloween thing. It's hard to know. I remember when I was younger, I did a whole Batman themed park, and I don't know if it was RollerCoaster Tycoon 1. I think it is, with the expansion packs that gives you some of the weirder roller coasters. I made a whole Batman themed, and I had one that was like a dueling track roller coaster. I made one, the track was black, the other one was white, and the cars were like a bluish kind of thing. And that was your Harvey Dent Two-Face
yep. Mm-hmm.
thing. I had a similar thing, but it was Batman and Robin, where one of the tracks was black with yellow cars, and then the other was red with green cars. Mr. Freeze had a ride that was like the water ride or something. I forget, but yeah, I had a lot of fun
Naturally.
with that. This time around, every park had the same name, and that was thefreecheese.com/the list. And every ride was named after a game that we've reviewed on the list. And I tried to keep it theming appropriate, right? So like if I made a go-kart thing, then it was super off-road, or I think that might have been bumper cars. But yeah, either way, like all of that stuff was there. It made for some really funny reactions to things where it was like, I'm not paying that much to go on Zone of the Enders, or just looking at Donkey Kong makes me feel sick. I want to go on something more thrilling than Kudelka. You know, that kind of stuff. It's pretty good. Yeah, I had a good time doing that. And I tried to like make the colors appropriate. When I made a WarioWare level, the roller coaster was completely purple, but the what do you call it? The not beams, but you know, the the feet of the track.
Sure.
Whatever. Yeah, those structures. Those are all yellow, and then the carts were yellow as they went around too, with a little pink accent for his dumb nose. I'm glancing. I took a couple screenshots of some random carts. I'm trying to like peek and remember. But yeah, I had fun with it doing that this time.
But I think that's like one of this game's like really cool just advantages, right? And yeah, I mean, again, I had to play with OpenRCT, which that's actually bringing OpenRCT is weird because it wants you to have RollerCoaster Tycoon 2.
Yeah.
And then you have to import your stuff from the first game to get the scenario. So I kind of have a little bit of a disadvantage, or I guess, or advantage, I should say. But like, I kind of get some of the models from 2 imported into 1. So I have a few different customizations. But like, I mean, even going back to me as a kid, like it's limitless to what you can do and what you can pull off. Like I can kind of start to envision what that park looks like just with a few gardens and street lights in a certain theme, and I can already kind of put together like an Edgar Allan Poe section in, a Baltimore theme park without, thinking too much about it. And that's me just thinking about with the models that I know, not actually exploring the menus and clicking through all my options to see what's available.
Because there's probably, a ton. And I think like you can get really creative and innovative with different car types. The further you go with like research,
right?
I want to check and see if there's a like research that or a code that lets you just unlock everything all at once.
Sure there is, or if not, OpenRCT probably gives you the...
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Anything else on visuals before we hit sound?
No.
Right.
It's timeless, I think, is the key word here.
Yeah, I agree. Sound, I think will be a brief section, but what I found fascinating with returning to the game is that I went into this thinking, all right, I'm going to play and I'm going to put something on in the background, and I'm mostly going to be paying attention to the thing I've got on in the background and just kind of waiting on numbers to go up and, results to come in on certain things, tweaking and watching whatever I'm going to watch. And instead, I found myself entranced with the game, but specifically the sound is kind of what kept me fully tuned into all the nuances of the park. Because you hear the sounds of like people having fun, people screaming, there's music from different rides as you're moving the camera around. You can set rides to have different themes also. And there's just this like general build of cacophony. It's just this big like symphony of mess by the end of a run. Like it starts off and it's very quiet, especially if it's an empty park. But even with a park that has a few rides to it, it's not very loud. But as you start to build out and by the end of a run, when you've like met your goal, you realize just like, especially saving and quitting, you realize how loud it got where it's just like this sound, that sound, these people, music from this ride, music from this thing happening. It's a ton kind of happening all around.
I kind of had the similar moment where I don't think you realize like how authentic it sounds until like in my case, Victoria was like kind of like right up the stairs from where I was, and she's like, "Are you playing RollerCoaster Tycoon?" Like like immediately like just because of the sounds of the people yelling because I was by a roller coaster and the dumb theme songs coming off the ride and stuff like that. But like instantly, I know I mentioned I was about to play this, but like just it was immediate. She was like, "Wait, is that RollerCoaster Tycoon?" Yeah, so.
Yeah,
it's also iconic in a way.
Yeah, very much. And I never grew tired of it either. Like as much as you hear similar sounds, I was never just like, because I think I got locked into this. Every time I played this, it was like, oh, okay, that many hours went by. You know what I mean? Or like, I'll sit down, I'm not going to finish this scenario. I'm just going to do a couple minutes and then I'll go play something else or I'll make dinner. And then it was just like, oh.
When like I would hit that point of stagnation in like what's the next thing I need to get through the scenario, it felt in those challenging times, and I put that in air quotes, but that's when I felt like, oh, I'm playing this instead of being immersed in it. If I was just creating a park, just having a couple drinks, that would be one of those times where I like look at the clock and it's 3 a.m. and I just yell fuck and then run upstairs or maybe finish what I was doing and end up being there for another hour.
Yeah. Just a little bit more.
It's very like 2 more rides.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we talk about, and we can kind of move into our final reviewers' thoughts with this before we rank it, but I think for me, like, we talk about this whenever a strategy game comes up in conversation, or we did Civ 6 on the list, and I think we talked about it a bit with that, but like, I think we talked about it with Ute a little bit, but there's that thing where like, I will get an itch for a sim style game or some sort of Sim City builder or something like that every once in a while. And when I do, I'm locked in for like a solid session that just lasts way longer than I thought it would. And then I kind of forget about it and don't come back. With RollerCoaster Tycoon, I feel like it's the opposite. It's a similar like wave that comes over me where I'm like, oh, I want to get into this, and obviously like I schedule wise was ready to get into this, but it kind of takes over. You get lost in it for a while, and then you're like, I kind of want to do that again. Where the other ones, I feel like I scratch my itch and I move on. Where this, I'm like, yeah, I could do this. I could make another park that does this, or, you know, still got more games on the list to make rides out of, so I can always do that. With that, what do you think is RollerCoaster Tycoon's legacy?
I kind of said it at the top, where it's like, you know, I don't think this is like the first strategy game by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, U Tower is before this, but like, I think this is the one that like puts it on the map, at least for our generation, and it's, I don't know. I think like, I just think it's like that pinnacle one that everyone thinks back to. Like, if you tell me to name a strategy game 9 times out of 10, I'm probably going to name RollerCoaster Tycoon. Especially ask me like from one like back when I was growing up. Like, this is the answer far and away. Like, I may say Zoo Tycoon once in a while because I might be looking at animals on a screen while you ask me that question, but I think that's the only time I'm going to think about Zoo Tycoon.
Yeah, even The Sims, as much as I played The Sims probably as much as I played RollerCoaster Tycoon back then, but I still think like it's just a different
See, I never owned The Sims, and I was never a Sims person like playing at someone's house. Like, it was fine, but it wasn't this.
No. This has a much different grip on me than The Sims. I loved The Sims. We should explore that. I don't know what that even looks like now. I stopped after 1. I didn't do any. I might have done like one of the expansions on The Sims, but I didn't go into subsequent ones. I tried 3 or something because it was on PS4, and that's a different game. Still similar, but just different flow. How does this compare? We've brought up Ute Tower a couple times. We did that earlier in the year. How does this compare to that? And what do you think makes RollerCoaster Tycoon work where Ute Tower didn't always hit?
I think just approachability. Not to say that like one's easier than the other, because I mean, if you play the scenario, they get hard. Like, yeah. Like the first, they lay it out in different, like there's like 6 that are in easy. Most of them are in like moderate, and there's a few hard ones. I didn't even get to the hard ones, and some of the moderate ones, like I think I would have got there, but I was starting to struggle with some of them, especially the island one. That island one's tricky.
Yeah, that was tough.
But like, even in those scenarios, it's like I never felt like I was just like immediately overwhelmed with like just systems and whatever. Like, there was always like a bounce back period. And I know you're technically on a timeline, but like, I don't know, it just wasn't. And it could be just because I understand this game better and I'm coming back to it after all these years of, you know, playing it or whatever. But I don't know. I just feel like this is an easier pick up and play game than Ute is.
Yeah, Ute had a lot of nuance to it, and I think the onboarding for Ute was tougher than RollerCoaster Tycoon. I think this is approachability goes a long way in a game like this, because I think then there is so much depth to this, as there is Ute Tower, but there's so much depth to this that isn't required, right? Like, Ute felt like I'm screwing this up because I don't know this stuff well enough. This, it's like, you can get away with, at least in the early stages of this, you can get away with doing a couple of things, making some mistakes. Like, I felt like I was fully optimizing stuff, and I ended up, like, the very first scenario, jumping back into this, like, clearing it with ease. You know what I mean? Where it was like,
right.
You could probably struggle with that one quite a bit and still pass. But, you know, my rating was much higher than it needed to be, the park value, all that stuff, or whatever goals you had. Just because it's like, I know this stuff well enough, but I think you could kind of skate by without needing to know a lot.
Oh, that was the other thing. I forgot to say that up top. The scenario stuff, there is it opens RCT, again, pitching this. This is the way to play it, by the way, in 2026.
I want to do that now because I did not do it that way.
So, sorry, there's like a gnat flying around my mic, and you might be hearing the wisp of my hand. OpenRCT gives you the toggle to end scenarios early.
Oh, in what? Like, once you hit the
goals, you're like, you can opt out and quit, and that's how I was doing. That's how I was able to get through the few that I did pretty quickly.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I meant to leave with that when we started talking about scenarios, but I forgot.
Is this going to stay installed on your hard drive?
I mean, here's the cool thing. It's a game in 2026 that feels like it should be 200 gigs, and it's like maybe 10 with all the expansions and stuff I had to download to get OpenRCT working. So, but that was the other thing. I ended up buying. I know we were playing like one technically, but I ended up buying two, or the like 2 deluxe, which comes with all the DLC. So yeah, like I have it all at this point, which I'll poke at this. Again, this is going to be one of those things where I don't know what to play, and I click on it, and then I'll get lost in it for a day.
Yeah, because it's just fun. I'm thinking about... I do want to check out OpenRCT just because I think that'll be easier to do on a Mac than having to run through some other shenanigans to make it work. But the Switch 2 version has mouse controls.
I did not know that.
Because they've ported it to other platforms now as, I think it's called like RollerCoaster Tycoon Classic. Yeah. And there's a Switch 2 upgrade version that I think if you have the original, it's like a $5 upgrade. Otherwise, I think just raw buying it is $20 maybe, or it's 25. And yeah, it has Switch 2 mouse controls with higher graphics and resolution graphics.
So that version is available on Steam.
Yes.
So I guess that is one you could technically just download and play.
Right, with
Yeah, the other one, it will launch. It won't even crash. It'll do that thing when Steam where you hit play and it's like starting and then just reverts back to like hit start to run it. It's like, okay, all right, what's happening here? And then, I quickly realized like, ew, this isn't, you need some help to get this running like some other games we play.
I don't know what I did to get it going, but it went without OpenRCT.
It was weird because I looked into all this before putting it onto the list.
Yeah.
Because, again, I know what it looks like getting things. Also, you're not in the same, you don't have like the same PC, like, you just don't have a PC. So like some of this stuff, like I got to make sure you can run it. And, nothing came out about like needing OpenRCT because I would have said something beforehand, but it was really weird. They're just like,
I wonder if I just have the right like whatever's installed, like
potentially,
because I've got other random PC stuff running, so maybe I just have the right dependencies that it kind of worked. But yeah, well, unless you have any other final thoughts, I think we rank this thing. And I don't know who wants to throw a number out there first. I will say we've got on thefreecheese.com/thelist, where all of our rankings are, we have 190 video games ranked. At number 190, we have Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero. And currently at number 1, we have Super Mario Galaxy 2. Where do you posit RollerCoaster Tycoon joins the list?
All right. I'm looking at this through the website. I guess I don't need to, but
oh yeah,
old habits. Well, not old, just different habits. All right. No, I'm gonna throw out a number here. I have this as the new number 9.
Interesting.
Between Halo Combat Evolved and Katamari Damacy.
We had a similar approach, I think. I think the difference is once I broke a barrier, I couldn't stop. So where I landed is with the question. My ranking in my notes says, is this the new number 2?
Oh!
Yeah, I know.
So I thought about breaking through Quake.
For me, I got past Doom pretty quickly.
Wando.
Doom 2016.
Yeah.
And once I got past Doom 2016, I'm like, is this better than Quake? And I'm like, I could see a world. Is it better than Castlevania? I'm like, yeah. Once I got past Castlevania, Deus Ex rules. There's so much to it, but I'm like, this RollerCoaster Tycoon over Deus Ex. And then I'm looking at Wii Sports, and I'm like,
Oh, yeah, we're over Deus Ex. I'm over Wii Sports at this point.
And if I'm over Wii Sports, I'm like, I think I might be over Tetris Effect. Tetris Effect Connected, fantastic. But
yeah, no, I might be there with you.
Core gameplay experience. And then I flirted with the idea of this being better than Super Mario Galaxy 2.
I think it's worth a conversation. I think ultimately, Super Mario Galaxy 2 is...
Yeah.
Like, is a better game. But again, like... That's not me definitively saying it. I think that's me, like, mentally picking hairs just to make Galaxy 2 a better game. And I could probably pick hairs for RollerCoaster Tycoon as well if I really wanted to. But I kind of, like, I don't hate it. That too.
I know. I know.
Because, like, what you said with... Yeah, like, because I thought about it too. Because I was like, if this is better than Halo, then I think it just jumps all the first-person shooters we have right there at 8, 7, and 6, which would be Halo at 8, Doom 2016 at 7, and the original Quake at 6.
Mm-hmm.
Rondo of Blood, like, I know why it's in the top 5. It's not probably in my personal top 5 of this list, so we're there. I'm jumping it. Deus Ex, I thought about it for a second. I was about to say, I was like, yeah, but I'm about to play Deus Ex and have a completely different experience the next time I play it. And then I just thought about it. I was like, I'm going to have this completely different experience next time I play RollerCoaster Tycoon.
Yeah.
And then we jump Deus Ex, I jump Wii Sports. And if I jump Wii Sports, like, personally, I think it's a coin flip for Tetris and me, but I think this has better lasting power than Tetris Effect.
I don't know. I
don't
always
go
come
to the
back to
multiplayer.
Tetris.
I don't go back for the multiplayer, though, as much as I should.
I don't. No. I don't go back for the multiplayer. When I go back to Tetris Effect, I'm selective about which ones which stages I replay, because there's some that I like more than others, and I don't think that's any different than RollerCoaster Tycoon, but I also feel like you can kind of jump into any of the stages of RollerCoaster Tycoon and still have a good time.
Yeah, but Tetris Effect, like, kind of like what you say, I do the opposite, though. I force myself to play through journey mode again, because I want to one-shot it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of do that to see how far I can get before crashing out, and that makes me replay everything. Yeah, dude, 2.
Not 1. I just want to...
It could be 1.
I know. I didn't come into this thinking... I will say, though, this is also the first time in a long time I wrote my review, and I generally try to write the text before I give a score. But I wrote the text of the review, and then I'm starting to go through the score. I hit it with 10s all the way across the board. I haven't done that in a long time. Maybe Rondo of Blood was the last time I did that. I couldn't come back down from 10s. I was like, I can make some complaints about the camera, for sure. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. So
I didn't give a 10, but it's all 9s and 9.5s, which I think I maybe gave gameplay a 10 in Super Mario. I have to look at my score again, but, like, it's not a perfect... Like, Tetris Effect's the one that's 10 all the way across.
Yeah.
Mario Galaxy, I gave something 9 somewhere.
And not that the score for us has any indication on where it lands on the list, but just me thinking about, like, concessions for the... I don't know. Like...
You ask me this question from time to time, so I'll ask it to you. Is this one of those things where we put it at 1, we look back at this in, like, 8 weeks, and we're like, why did we put that at number 1?
I mean, I say that sometimes now about Super Mario Galaxy 2.
Fair enough.
You know, where I'm like, Not that it's bad, but like I think the tough part about our top 15 is that you could, I mean, there's a lot of games on this list. You could argue for them to be higher than they are, where, yeah. So I don't know. There's part of me that like, yeah, doesn't want to disrupt the order of this because it feels
but then,
right.
but if we're not disrupting the order, then what's the, or we're putting something to avoid disrupting, then what's the point of this list?
No, I know. New number 1? Does it feel right? Or does it feel like we're betraying something?
I think it's shock just because if RollerCoaster Tycoon, like it is deserving of a number 1 on a list, this list, some lists. I think more so is I don't think I expected to be talking about 1, so I'm kind of in shock. And then on top of that, coming into the slate of games this season, I didn't expect to be talking about 1
at all,
kind of period. So like, I'm like double blindsided in a way. But I don't hate it at 1. I really don't.
I don't either. Because I'm with you. Like, knowing the games that we'd selected for the year, I didn't really think we'd have anything crack the top 10. Because we weren't kind of going for that. We're trying to flesh this list out, and we're,
right. I mean, not to say that we weren't going to put good games, and we're trying to get like 80s all the time, but like,
no, but
we put Super Mario Galaxy 2 and Tetris Effect and all that stuff on the list. Like, we tried to get a new number 1. We have 4 opportunities.
Yeah, we purposefully went for that, and this time we're more like
it's kind of organically happened.
Yeah, we got 200 games in the list, and we're exploring different angles and stuff like that. Like, Katamari was one that ended up in the top 10. But other than that, this year, nothing's come close, right? Like, we got some stuff in the 20s.
No, Katamari's the 1.
Yeah. So.
And I hated my time with that game, too.
Yeah.
I understood why, but I did not get it, as some may say. No, because all right, so like we talk about 1, like Super Mario Galaxy 2 is probably the best, if not one of the best 3D platformers, right? We've said it a couple times. Like I know I at least have twice where it's like, this is the simulation game as a child that introduced me to simulation games. And then in different times we've said about how well it holds up. So like best and holds up, like is the intersection.
Yeah, that too. And I love, like, we're playing a game on the Nintendo Wii right now. We've got that coming up in
2 weeks?
2 weeks. No More Heroes will be episode 673. And going back to the Wii, I'm having a good time holding that controller, and I feel like that extends to Super Mario Galaxy 2. Like, it's a complete experience. It feels like a full realization of what the Wii was and what Mario was in that era. And
the game's also a video game.
Sure. But
I think this is 1.
I do too.
I think this is 1.
I didn't think we were going to get there today. But
no.
I didn't, when I was playing this, I wasn't like thinking like, well, this is number 2. You know what I mean? Or whatever. I was just sort of like.
No, I played, I don't even say, I might not even spent 10 hours revisiting, but like everything came flooding back. I enjoyed my time with it. It's one of those things, like I kind of hit what I needed to, and other stuff's been distracting me. So I was trying to play the other stuff when I had time, but like it's good, and like I do look forward to that day that I sit back down and make my own park and do all that fun stuff, because really, like, it's one of those games where the devil is in the details.
Yeah, very much so. Well, the new number 1.
This is awesome.
Yeah. Congratulations, Chris Sawyer. You are better than Miyamoto.
Single-handedly. Just about.
Yes. Yeah, dude. it just really is a special game.
We
And
also,
the new number 1 on the list.
I was gonna say, we also really didn't touch on that either. Like, dude did it all himself.
Yeah. That's a wild background to it. Pretty cool overall. Congrats to RollerCoaster Tycoon. Thank you for adding this to the season, Matt, because you shook up the meta.
That was not the purpose of it. It was it was more so just to like revisit RollerCoaster Tycoon after all these years.
Yeah, but hey, man, we got there. Let's see what happens with the top 10 next week. As we discuss Dead or Alive Extreme 3.
Yeah.
Talk about menus.
Sure.
Using menus in video games. Until then, thank you all for hanging out with us. Thank you, Matt. We'll see you next time. Bye.